for like about 2-3 minutes for others to actually join us. But while we're waiting for others to join, please kindly use the chat section, drop your name and where you're joining us from. And yeah, if you have a start, obviously, I believe you have something you're building. Also, in the chat section, just also tell us what you're also currently building. Your name, your location, and what you're building. Thank you very much. Hi, Samuel. Samuel, where are you joining us from? Oh, good. CTO cred fault. That's good. This is Samuel from Kenya. I know we have people from other parts of the world. I'm expecting to see people from Ghana, from Nigeria, United Kingdom, Hungary, and the list goes on and on. Olaolu Babalola from Lagos, Nigeria. You're welcome on board, Olaolu. Okay, you're building a back-end student registration software. Oh, wow. That's good. What's the name of your, can we know the name of your solution, name of your startup? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. If you're just joining the session is about to start. We're just trying to wait for others to join so they don't miss out. So wherever you're joining us from, just tell us your name, where you're joining from, and what your solution is all about. The name of your startup, basically your name, where you're joining from, and the name of your startups. Oh, we Techified. That's good. Thank you all for joining. I'm still expecting to see more names here. More names here, more location. Oh, this is Favor Kibadi, all the way from Kenya. Oh, good. Okay, expert service in corporate building and IT experience center. Everything about okay. PPT, people, process, and technology. Oh, that's good. I Sandford from Kindred Factors in London. Good to have you on board. So yeah, just keep joining. Once you join, just tell us where you're joining us from, your name, where you're joining us from, and what you're building. Meanwhile, let me just walk us through what this forum is just gonna be all about. So just at a glance, this is what we are going to be going through. We have a welcome, which is going to take just about 2 minutes, but now I think we're going to probably extend it like about 3 to 5 minutes. Then after that, we have Sivan come on board and talk about Data Melon. Then after that, we have we just briefly introduce the giants in the room, the two giants in the room. The person of Timothy Laku and Danit. And then also then from there, we go into the main conversation. Then after that, we have some audience interaction also. Then we have the live audience Q&A. Then just for about 5 to like 10 minutes, we have a lightning round. Then we go straight into the closing takeaway, then wrap up, which will be taken by Sivan. So give or take by 6 p.m. or a few minutes past 6, we should be done with this session. So meanwhile, let me see if we have a couple of introduction in the chat box. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Shakt. Sorry in case I murder your name. Apologies. And you're from Oxford. Oh, that's good. And you build a gamified tourism app named Place SP. That's interesting. Yeah, happy to connect you from here. Quick one. Let's quickly dive into the next session, and from here I will be giving the mic to Sivan. Sivan will just be walking us through about what Data Melon does, and then I'll be right back. Sivan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Charles. I am Sivan. I am the Startup Community Manager leading global startup programs. Very honored to have all of you here and our speakers that we will just present in a moment. We will zoom out to understand a bit better about Data Melon because AI currently, it's a big question how it would change the world within a decade. And we at Data Melon focus on this. We operate in two fields. First would be, as a company, we are an we build our AI-based tools, fraud detector agent, biz dev tool. We have our clients for those of you, hello everyone who are now joining. Those of you who are in the UK, like Vodafone, the Royal Scottish Bank, these are clients already of ours. The other field where we operate is Data Melon as a kind of an accelerator, and this is the field where we are now live. Then we have our startup advantages that are very, very crucial for all of you here. The next slide can show us how we support you 24/7 with our Amazon Web Services credits. As advanced partner of Amazon, we can provide you access to these credits, support, consultation with architects of ours, with developers of ours, who walk you through this process of understanding how we can grow together with your startup. Startups these days need computing, data, and funding. It's a very, very exciting time to live in, and we at Data Melon do anything we can to strengthen this ecosystem, including this session that is now going to take place. So we are very much happy to have all of you over here, and over back to you, Charles.
Oh, thank you, Sivan, for that. Basically, everything Sivan just shared now. What's it called? It's just all about AI transformation. Isn't just about technology, and we believe at Data Melon that when it comes to AI, it's not just about the technology. It's about the people. It's about the leadership, and also it's also about the execution. And that's exactly why where we are focusing on today's conversation. And yeah, we are actually very fortunate to be joined us by two people who have been thinking deeply about AI adoption from different perspectives. Like they've been doing this for about 2 decades. Yeah, for over 2 decades rather. So let's just quickly introduce these people. Now currently we have Timothy, who has spent over 2 decades inside the message, just like I like to say. Timothy has a real-world reality of when it comes to that digital transformation across Africa and beyond. And Timothy has worked on over 100 projects. What stands out about him is that he doesn't just talk about adopting AI. He talks about the transformation. He redesigned how people, processes, and decision actually works, because he has seen too many organizations install his tool and they call it progress, basically. If your ends are not too busy, please help me using the chat, using the emojis. Please let's give Timothy a warm welcome. Just drop emoji from wherever wherever you are. Thank you for that. And now before we go to our other guests. And before we go to our other guests, I just need to let us understand that this session is basically tailored to when we sent out the form for this question, we asked each and everybody registering that they should just ask us one question around AI, basically. And everything we're going to be discussing here is just going to be around that. We're not taking anything out of that. So just for you to know that this session is tailored for you, directly for you, and all. So basically, and so quick one. Let's move on to our next speaker for today, and who is Danit, Danit native Navon. Danit often describes herself as a late adopter of AI. I've held this, like, this has been the first time I saw her bio. I just had this in my head, like, okay, you've been a late adopter of AI. Okay, but then I think I'm just going to get into that. Let me just read what her profile, but not because she wasn't technical. She spent over a decade in cybersecurity because before this, but because she wanted to truly understand technology before embracing it. Today, she's helping engineering leaders at Meta navigate AI transformation from the inside. And I think that's actually like a fascinating journey. And from the profile that you can see here, you can see our core focus areas. She has pioneered AI native recruiting. She has done a lot around security and infrastructure core. She's also a global leadership, and she's also part of so many global leadership and communities. Basically, if your hands are not busy, if your hands are not busy, please kindly use the chat section. The emoji to welcome Danit. Drop an emoji in the chat, or just show some love in any way you can. You can actually do that. Okay. I can see so many people clapping. So yeah, Danit and Timothy, welcome on board. We truly appreciate we truly appreciate you being able to join us for this section. But before we actually speak about these guests, before I actually bring them on board officially, I want to be sure that we've been able to drop a few. Just in case you're just joining, I had said earlier, wherever you're joining us from, just give us your name, where you're joining us from, and what you're currently building. So yeah, Danit, I think I'll just go to Danit first, basically, before I bring on Timothy. So Danit, from your profile, you describe yourself as a late adopter of AI, someone who chooses to evolve with the technology rather than just being swept along by it. But now you are sitting inside Meta AI infrastructure division, helping engineering team adopt AI at scale. So I want to start from there. For someone who took a deliberate, measurable approach to this, what does getting it right actually looks like from the inside?
So, I mean, I can start by telling the story of the reason I started that pulled me or made me move from being a late adopter to actually understand that I have no choice and I have to start moving forward. So I was sitting in Meta AI orientation, and there was a leader that I really, really appreciated on stage. And long story short, he froze when one of the candidates, the new hires, asked him about vibe coding. He had no idea what this word means. And at that point in time, he was embarrassed to ask. So this moment is when I realized that as much as I am in my character as a late adopter, and trust me, I am a late adopter, it takes me, I don't change my phone unless I really, really have to. But still, I realized that I have to push myself beyond my boundaries and out of my comfort zone and start learn this thing and learn how to use it, or I would just stay behind. And actually, because it was so hard, because it wasn't something that is so natural, like others that tend to be early adopters and happy to pick up anything, I felt like that's what brought me this advantage that helped me guide so many leaders in our org on how to do that, how to overcome this fear of, I have 2 decades in this industry. I know how to lead in old world, and suddenly all of this changing, and actually my background, instead of helping me, it holds me back. And this is something that I see a lot, especially with senior leaders across the industry, all across. We have to change our mindset a bit, see how we are embracing it, and learn from junior engineers.
Thank you so much for that, Danit. That's really an important point. And then I think and this point kind of also connect directly to a question. And to one of the questions we got from one of our attendees, and whose name is Michael. And Michael is asking, he said, how do we move from experimenting with AI tool to actually integrating them into core business processes without losing buy-in from teams who are skeptical of the change?
I am answering, right? So I tell you what I think. The best way to make engineers adopt it and not being skeptical is making this their idea. So one of the things we were doing around Meta is that we took the junior engineers who just joined the company, and we helped them and supported them and encouraged them to start to use the AI tools as much as they can. When those junior engineers were split across different teams, then suddenly the senior engineers, who tend to be a little bit more skeptical about AI, so they had this, oh no, this junior engineer just did something that it would have taken me months in few days. And that is the moment we were looking for, because that made the whole buy-in or that just made it easier for engineers to jump on board and see the advantages of AI.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you so much, Danny, for that. Thank you so much, Danny, for that. Timothy, I think let me just switch a bit to Timothy. Timothy, for someone like you who has delivered over 100 projects across Africa, and as we all know, Africa, with the way Africa is, it's such an environment whereby resources, connectivity, and trust are a real constraint. Do you think what Danny just said in terms of learning from junior engineers, or even around resistance thereabout, do you think does it look different from where you actually sit? I mean, when it comes to Africa.
Thank you so much. Not so much. It's not as different. I think this is more in terms of having to not convince, but influence, right? The people that you have around you. So if you're a CTO and you have different layers of people reporting to you, and all of them have their tools that they're used to and they're comfortable with, how do you get them to adopt this new thing that is going to help them, essentially do their work better? So this is a question of innovation, right? How do you bring your team? How do you carry your team? How do you move from point A to point B in a way that you're able to sell the fact that them adopting is better for the collective good of the team, but beyond that, it is better for the collective good of the company or the startup, and then also connect that to the value that your startup or your company is essentially going to create for the customers that they serve, for the stakeholders that they serve, right? So yeah, so it's within the team, there's a dynamic that happens, and then it is correct. It's something that also within the African context does occur. But beyond that, it's important to be able to connect it to what additional value this change, this shift, this dynamic adoption of these new tools, like all of that, how does that connect to the value that you eventually add to the customer that you're serving as a startup or you're serving as a business? That connection is important. So bringing that outcome, that value to the conversation allows you to close that gap faster than just telling them, you guys have to adopt this tool, right? That's kind of how I see teams that are succeeding on the continent actually do it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Timothy, for this. I think there is also like a tying this value together. Let's now tie this value to outcome basically. I think there's also like there's a practical dimension to this too, because I think we have a founder, a man who is also a founder, has asked something that I think every CTO, somebody quietly worry about. So he said, when AI is integrated into products and workflow, how do you make sure the output actually feels human and valuable and doesn't just look like generic, low quality high content, basically.
That's a good one, and I think it's something that we're seeing a lot now. We get an email with a presentation deck, and it has AI slop in it. We get an email from our colleagues, it's got AI slop in it. We have seen these many posters now, event posters on social media. It's crazy. It's an epidemic. All right. So we could do better. And I think the reason why we see those posters look the way that they do, it's because everyone is sort of doing generic prompting. You're typing, give me a poster for an event, and then you give in the details. It's very generic. And so AI takes that, and then it's giving you also a very generic output or a very generic visual, right? Something applies to workflows, right? If you're building a solution and you are not very specific with your AI, there's a whole lot of prompt engineering that needs to happen, that you're not just writing 3 sentences and then posting it down, expecting AI to be able to give you something that is amazing. My prompts usually, on a minimum, is probably 3 paragraphs, right? And I take almost 15 to 20 minutes to write those prompts. For people who know me, I take time to write them. The first paragraph, the second paragraph, I refine it, third paragraph, fourth paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the things you need to do. Test it this way, do it this way. So I take more time writing the prompt, and I take a break. I'm writing it. I take a break, go take coffee, come back, continue refining that particular prompt. Because the point here is to be able to have something that is very specific, very tailored, very customized, right? And it's very unique to who I am. And so it's the same thing that applies with any product that you're building, if you're using Cloud Code or any of those tools. If I'm doing a presentation, or if I'm doing a deck, whatever it is that I'm doing, that prompt needs to be solid. If you're not taking more than 15 minutes to write a prompt, I can assure you it's a generic prompt. How many of you write prompts in 2 minutes? Send. That's going to give you a very generic output, right? Take time. Take time to write that prompt. So yeah, so to answer your question, run away from generic prompts, spend your time to do a conclusive, very comprehensive, and think through it the way you would set it up in your head. What do you want achieved as the outcome? Second thing, how do you want it to go about building this thing? Third thing, how do you like it? How would you like for it to test it to make sure that the quality is right? Fourth thing, what else do you need it to confirm to go through that process? If you have a unique voice, remind it to be able to design it in your unique voice, right? If you do that, it's going to take you more than 15 minutes to write.
Thank you so much, Timothy, for that. I think in summary, the outcome you get from AI is dependent on the data that you give to it. Very well, very, very, very well. Thank you so much for that, Timothy. Let's switch then
to that a bit.
Okay.
So one other way to build exactly that long prompt and that long context is to have AI agents. The magic around AI agent is that they will preserve their context, and by creating sort of like a team of AI agent, each one of them with their own role and their own context, a lot of the things that you find yourself keep repeating, they will already know. So if you want to if you keep writing posts, and post is the things you're working on, you want to have an agent that is a marketing agent and does expertise in it. And after a while, you will be able to write shorter prompts because they will know you already. It is a little bit more expensive approach than to have all those prompts written directly to different AI, whichever you choose to write to. But this is definitely an option, and sometimes there's this trade-off, and it's worthwhile. It will save you time.
No, Thank you so much for adding that, Denise. You need to have an AI agent. So yeah, quick one. Let's quickly move from that. For this part, I target people before technology. So that is one thing that defines your work is that you don't just talk about adopting technology. I know you've gone for different conferences where you have to speak. You've gone for different panel sessions and the rest, basically. But then you don't just only talk about it. You don't just only talk about adopting the technology. You also talk about redesigning the people, the process, and also decision making around it. So let me ask you directly: what is that human problem that kills AI adoption before technology even gets a chance?
The human problem that prevents us from adopting the technology?
Exactly.
I think it is we tend to overcount on others and things to that. I would say that better. We avoid on doing what we're good at. We try to do what someone else is good at. And I will give an example. So when we started with it, I saw tons of posts across with other engineering managers sharing about how they are writing code. And I thought to myself, it will be easy and I can go and write code myself. But what I didn't realize is that the code base of my team is very complicated. And this is something that I haven't done purely myself. And it will take me forever to ramp up. Having said that, actually by after this experience, when I switch and realize, okay, what I'm good at is managing teams. And if I decided I'm going to adopt AI by doing what I'm good at, I started managing AI agents. And that is when the switch happened. That is when I actually was able to be super productive, leverage my skills and become super productive way better. Only after I did that, I leveraged my knowledge to learn how to work with AI properly. That's when I started to use AI to gain more skills, new skills, and grow beyond my the original benefits I used to have. And I think we tend to look too much for what happens around us. So you see someone else with a different sets of skill, they manage to do something, and you're kind of like, oh, if they do that with AI, I can do that as well. But each one of us has their own path, and it's linked very much to our own skill set and capabilities. And one very, very fast way to imposter syndrome is look around you too much and try to be like everyone else.
Thank you so much. I grabbed that. Don't try to be like everyone else. Just be yourself. Know your skill. Know what you're good at. Very, very good. That lands very well. Thank you so much, Danny, for that. So just to go on to the next question, which I also think it somehow also kind of tie back to what Danny just currently highlighted. And this question is from Fiona Wendy. I don't know if you're on the call. If you're on the call, you can just you can just signify by dropping an emoji. She said, how can organizations close the skill gap so employees can effectively use AI tools without slowing down operations or creating dependency on a small group of experts? I think Timothy should take this question. Then Dan it can add your metal experience to it. Timothy.
That's definitely a good question. I love it. So the trick here is two things: culture, right? What culture has been set by leadership within the organization when it comes to experimentation and just innovating. Yeah. If the leader is not encouraging the team to test new tools, to be able to go to spaces where there are new things and be able to learn, If that culture doesn't exist, then it makes it very hard for the team to scale, right? So the aspect of scaling is essentially, I say it's a leadership, because your team can be a group of people who are curious and they're experimenting, and they will pull this tool here, they will pull that tool here, and they'll start to use it. But then when you come into the conversation and tell them, what are you guys doing? What are you using? Who gave you permission? Who approved this? When you start to get into that conversation with your team, then they stop experimenting, they stop innovating, they stop testing. And when they stop doing those things, definitely they are not going to scale. There's the official way of supporting the team to scale, meaning you've got this objective over the next 6 months as a junior engineer in my team, that these are the 3 things you're supposed to learn. So I'm not talking about the official channels of basically having a conversation and ensuring that your team is actually scaling over time. So that is a given. I'm talking about the culture within how you support them internally with the new things that they can start to experiment with. So experimentation as a culture is something that leadership will need to bring. Anyone who's managing people will need to be leading with that. So I need to be seen to be experimenting for my team to say, okay, I think he acknowledges and likes for us to do that. And they also start to do exactly that, right? If I need for them to test something new, they tell me, okay, there's this new tool, it's going to cost us about $1,000 to be able to trial it for a week. I'm like, yeah, approved. I'm going to approve that, because again, it's the culture of experimentation and testing that I'm enforcing in the team, or at least I'm trying the team to be able to do that. So one is going to be culture beyond the formal processes. And then the second one is just allow them to go to spaces, to communities where new ideas are being shared, encourage them, to come to meet Sivan and Rollins and all the things that Sivan is doing. That is good. I want them to leave our usual official workspace and tell them, what have you guys done this month? Have you been in a new community? Have you met new people? What are they doing in those communities? And then when they come back, they report to me and they tell me the new things that they've actually learned. That encourages them to learn new things, to understand what's happening, what's shifting in the marketplace. So if you do those 2 things, your team is going to be ahead of everyone else.
Thank you so much for that, Timothy. Any just in 30 seconds, is there something you would like to add to this, Danit?
Just +1 to everything Timothy said. I couldn't agree more.
Okay, good, great. So, Danit, from your profile also, I'm going to also bring this from your profile. You coach dozens of women breaking into tech every month. So I believe, obviously, from there, I believe you must have seen those who get access to AI too, and who doesn't. So Stella has asked something that I think speaks directly to your experience. It says, so basically, so when you are building AI systems and products, how do you make sure they actually work for the people from different culture, backgrounds, and different contexts, not just the one that looks like the engineers will build them? There are some products that actually looks like the engineers will build them.
Such an important question. Thank you, Stella, for raising this. Yes, I think the biggest challenge we have with AI generally is that those models based on the data we have. So if the data is lack of some minority groups, and it doesn't have to be necessarily women or Afro-American or African people, it can any other of minority. If the data is lack of it, it means that eventually the model will address accordingly. And this is something that we've seen. I mean, the easiest example you can actually test that out. Create 2 agents, give them exactly the same prompt, just tell one of them that this agent is a woman and the other agent will be a male, and you will see that the male agent will perform better. This is a problem we have, and we need to address it. There is one way to address it. Use it. We need to encourage minority groups to overcome any fear, overcome any imposter syndrome, and just go and step up and using it. Meta is a very Meta care a lot about all minority groups and invest a lot in it. And still, there is some limitation we can do if we don't have the minority groups from the other side using it, trying it. There is some limitation to how much you can do from outside. I can show you the door, I can demonstrate what needs to be done, but if minority groups won't walk through that door, we cannot do more than that. So it's not how we build the inclusive and culturally relevant AI systems, it's actually how we encourage all the minority groups to use those systems and help us generate the data we need for those to stay inclusive and culturally relevant.
Thank
I
you.
want to also add something in here in that context.
Okay.
As much as this is challenging, this is also something that gives us an advantage that wasn't here before. Means AI changing this industry for everyone. It gives us a fresh start. It gives us also an opportunity. If you just join this industry and you will join with the right mindset, very fast you will find yourself an expert in AI because it's new. Everyone can be an expert if they choose to do those right decisions and invest in their career in here. So all this background that minority groups tends to have on their back, that they struggle faster, this is kind of like an opportunity that I don't know if it will happen again in our lifetime to push our career forward and bring those minority groups to the front.
Thank you so much, Danny. Before I go to the next question, I can see that there are some questions already in the chat session. We're going to take all of that questions as soon as we are done with this. Just in case you have your questions, just keep dropping it in the chat section. In about 5-7 minutes from now, we are going to attend to that. So, Timothy, just to further stress what Danny just said, and question around also on Stella's question, and Andy also pushed this further because in market like when I say yours, like in Africa, you understand, this isn't just a design question. It has has real consequences. So I think Andy is trying to say that as AI systems get deployed at scale, how do we ensure they don't systematically disadvantage people based on ethnicity or cultural background? And who is responsible for regulating that?
Yeah, this I love it, Andy. This is a good question. So should we regulate, and when should we regulate? What should we regulate? Right? I think there's that is what they call a pregnant question. It's there's more to it than just one. So the dangers of bias is we end up disadvantaging maybe groups of people that we shouldn't disadvantage. An example would be a bank created a credit scoring app, essentially system using AI, and the data that was fed into that system was skewed towards the men, more men than women. And so what ended up happening is that when they rolled it out to production, then the women who are qualified were being denied the loans as much as they were qualified. Why? Because the data set within the training data that was used to train the model had more men than women. So by default, the AI system assumed that more men by default are the ones, and so the men by default were getting the loans that the women weren't. So this is a classic case where, because women were underrepresented in the data set, the consequence of that is that in the bank using the system to try and give out credit, the women were actually unfairly being denied the loan. So data is one way of addressing this. And then before we even talk about regulation, we need to ensure that within the data sets that are used to train the models across any vertical, that when we talk about regulation, we're essentially saying that the data needs to be balanced. The data needs to represent everyone. The data, because that's at the heart of the model. The model is going to behave based only on the data that it has been given. And so the way to protect bias at the model level is to address it at the data level, right? And so there are many mechanisms of doing that. Governance within a bank, for example, would address this, so that when the AI project or this initiative for credit scoring, for example, came up, there has to be an institution or a group of people who said, okay, within the data set, what do we anticipate to see? What should we put into the training data? How do we need to do that? So there's got to be some governance leading to the project and the work that needs to happen within that. That way we ensure that everyone is represented in that. So for an enterprise, governance will address this. At a national level, because there are some social groups that by default will not be included because either they are underrepresented, and so therefore a regulation needs to come into effect to be able to say, if you're going to work in this social space, you must bring data that captures equally, uniformly, fairly, right, across very broad enough to be able to include everyone, women, children, maybe there's a tribe within that country that is a minority tribe. It should not be represented within the data set as a minority. They are also human beings, so that needs to happen there as well, right? So it boils down to data at the end of the day, whether we do it at a national regulation level or we do it at a governance, at an enterprise level. That data is what we need to protect. That data needs to be a fair representative, right, to ensure that the bias is essentially eliminated from that solution.
Thank you so much, Timothy, for that well-detailed explanation and also breaking this into different layers. So I think so quickly, let's check out the governance and let's look at the governance and questions around the governance and risk generally. I've done it. This first question actually goes to you, and that's actually because you've spent over a decade in cybersecurity before Meta, and you've also seen inside of some of the most security-sensitive engineering environments in the world. So when you moved into AI infrastructure, how did that background shape the way you think about governance and compliance?
So the shift was actually pretty natural because I went through a combination of AI and cybersecurity through that way. Having said that, I thought that originally you're going to ask me on how we can enforce regulation with AI and how to do that, and I do want to address that a bit. So one thing that we can remember, everything related to cybersecurity, is that the strongest or the most resilient organization are those with the right culture. Those where eventually we used to say that human is the weakest link, but actually humans can be also the strongest link if you have a right culture in your orgs, and this is something that we've seen across. So whenever we tend to use AI, and this is true for everyone, because cybersecurity is not only for SOC. Cybersecurity is for everyone. And whenever you go and you use that, to have that mindset that says, wait, we have cybersecurity in here. This is I need to take that into consideration before I go and install any skill that someone wrote and I thought that it might be useful for me. Let me read that a little bit and see what I'm bringing into my organization and how I'm not exposing my organization into any risk that may be. Now it is AI. Before of that, it used to be I'm not gonna connect my USB to anywhere and without thinking through that. And we will have challenges as we go. The mindset have to stay the same.
Okay. So now, taking to the just to now ask the question that actually goes with this, because I just wanted to use that as just to set the ground. So Dennis has asked, he said, how can organizations adopt AI while ensuring strong governance, compliance, and ethical practice? And I think it will also be good if you can also, maybe make some cases, some use cases using Meta or maybe other places you've worked.
So one of the things okay. So one of the things we did around Meta is that we enforce compliance with AI. Means you can, one of the strongest things that AI can do, which we cannot, is scale and run some complicated queries across everyone. It will cost you purely just tokens, nothing more than that. And because of that, building some agents that will help enforce compliance, it will help train the engineers to the right mindset and right culture, to make sure that engineers aware of the governance required, what are the ethical practices of it, what are the restrictions we try to make sure we are compliant to. If we leverage AI to do this training for humans and also to put the governors to enforce some compliance if needed to monitor the humans in the process, this mix of both can help us adopt AI while we feel more comfortable on what's going on around it. Kind of like two different agents, one helping us to adopt, another one will help us to.
Okay. Okay, good. So quick one. Our time is fast spent. I think this will just be like the last questions we'll be asking. We have tons of questions. I'm just gonna ask this then while we go on the chat section and give the audience time to also like ask their own. And this question is to and Lama raised something that I think is a real tension, especially for startups who can't actually afford to slow down. And Lama has said, he said, how do organizations effectively balance the need for rapid AI development cycle with the stringent compliance and data privacy requirements inherent in regulated industries?
Good one, Lama. So the short answer here is sandbox, right? The beautiful thing about sandboxes is that within the sandbox, you can experiment, you can do many things that outside of the constraint of the sandbox environment is not a production environment. It's not the real world. Customers are interacting with with you and whatnot, right? That's if the regulator says you cannot share personal identifiable information, and that's a requirement. In production, you can't do that. There's no way of breaking that rule, right? So there's a system you've built for production, and so you've got to respect the law. You've got to know what you need to comply with in that context. Fine, that's the production environment. But you still need to innovate. You need to be able to experiment. You need to be able to think outside of the box. And the only other environment that allows you to do that is a sandbox. In the financial sector, in most of these countries, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, is that the regulator, the central bank that manages, say, banks, for example, creates and provides for a sandbox for the banks to come and do experimentation within the constraints of, you can do anything within that sandbox. So you can test new ideas that in production, you are not allowed to do. And so if you have an hypothesis, you have a theory, you can go and do that in the sandbox and then find out whether this makes sense or not. And if it does make sense, you can bring that data to the regulator and say, we would like to tweak our process a little bit. Your compliance regulations and rules is constraining us from doing it, but the data in the sandbox is telling us otherwise. Could you reconsider giving us a leeway, just a little bit here, for us to be able to run with this? Or can you change the rules a little bit within that constraint for us to be able to experiment and to be able to reach more people, for example, right? And the bank, if that data is available, they will be able to think through at scale what that actually means for the other banks, and they can do that. So the quick answer here is leverage sandbox environments where you can test, you can experiment, you can break the rules, all of that stuff without impacting what sits in production, and then work with the regulator to be able to see how some of those wins that you see within the sandbox can be brought over to production while respecting the law, right? Because if you're going to do something that is going to break the law, they're going to shut you down. So you don't have a choice but to essentially respect that at production, but then pivot towards sandboxes to be able to do that.
Thank you very much for that. Danit, do you have something to add to this before we go to the audience?
+1.
+1. Oh, great. That's amazing. So yeah, quick one. Let me check out. Yeah, we have a couple of wow. We're actually having our own slope. When you hear the word phrase, what is the one thing? So I think this question is from Marvin Dennis. Marvin has a whole lot of. Okay, so he said, when you hear the phrase AI and the work of future, what is the one thing the hype gets most wrong? And what is one shift you believe every organization and individual here we genuinely have to make in the next 12 to 18 months? Danny, do you want to take that?
When we hear the phrase of AI, I couldn't find the question.
Yeah, when you hear the phrase AI and the future of work, what is the one thing the hype gets most wrong? And what is one shift you believe every organization and individual here we genuinely have to make in the next 12 to 18 months?
So I would ask that it's not only 12 to 18 months. It's actually way, way earlier than that. I have no idea where we're going to be in 6 months from now. So telling you what will happen in 12 or 18 months is challenging for all. I think we need to learn how to balance between FOMO, because every now and then there is a new model, a new tool, something that will help us use through, and how we stay productive. Because on one end of it, we can decide that we are going and staying with one tool that works and not evolving. At some point, new tools, stronger, will pass by us. But on the other hand, new tools are introduced every day. So if we will be in the other side of the former, we will keep pick up new tools and we won't be productive. So learning how to do that balance right, learn how to allow our team to be able to ramp up, to jump to new, to learn about new technologies while they still stay productive. This is an art that I feel we don't give enough attention to. We don't stay here enough on playing with it a little bit and guiding our teams when should they pick up a new skill, a new tool, and when is it what they have picked up is good enough for what we need to do.
Oh, thank you very much for that. And Marvin, I hope that answers your question. Let me just quickly rush. Okay, good. Let me just quickly rush. Okay, yeah, there's also another one, which is tailored directly to Timothy. It said for Timothy, the reality gap or the distance between how excited organizations are about AI and how ready they actually are. When you walk into a Kenya organization, what does that gap usually looks like in practice? And what is the very first thing you have them put right before they go anywhere near deployment?
Good question. Everybody is excited until the actual work starts. So, we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to just jump into it. So the foundation I did mention earlier in one of my answers for training models of any AI solution is data, right there, the foundation. So if your organization has not fixed the data stack, how are you collecting? Have you digitized your processes? Is your data being collected digitally, right? And then it's being centralized somewhere. Do you have a data warehouse? Do you have a data lake? Like all of that, is data sitting somewhere? How is that data being orchestrated? How do you report it? How do you visualize it? Which pipeline? Does a pipeline exist? Does a data pipeline exist in your organization or not? So that's what I mean by foundation, right? All the systems that you have core banking system, you have a CRM, you have a front desk system, you have a payroll system, you have an ERP, you have all of those systems. Are they standalone? Are they siloed, or are they interconnected? Is the data from all of those different sources merging together somewhere And then AI is able to connect and read that and be able to do something with it. That's what I mean by the foundation, the data stack. If that data stack is broken, all of the stories, all the excitement about which tool to use for what, all the impact that you want to do with AI, all the solutions you feel AI is going to bring to your organization, all that value doesn't exist. It's not going to come. So the foundation layer has to be settled first. And so the first thing to do, usually I ask is, let me look at your data stack. If it does exist, I'll interrogate to go a bit deeper to understand siloed system. Are they connected? Are they talking to each other? Have you integrated? Do you have a pipeline? Do you have a lake? Do you have a warehouse? Is everything digitized? If that is done and that is ready, then for me, you are ready. You're ready to move on to the next level, to use that data now to be able to add value with AI.
Thank you so much, Timothy. Basically, if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? I think just to add context to it. So yeah, this will be the last question I will be taking from the audience, and this question is from Justice, and I'm directing this question to Danny. He said, "Greetings, my fellow techies. Greetings, Justice. If intelligence emerges from optimization, what fundamental property is missing that prevents today's AI system from developing autonomous code? And how would we experimentally verify its existence?" Should I take it again?
No, I got it.
Good.
I got it too.
So, fundamental property that is missing. I think we have a lot of properties that missing around the AI systems generally, or things that we need to do from developing our systems. I would say we don't want to avoid having human intervention. We want the AI systems to know when they should loop a human in their set of decisions and when they're not. So you create generally for everything. It's true for continuous integration. You have one agent can generate the code and another agent can review the code. You can do that with cybersecurity, or you mentioned that you can have one agent doing the governance and another agent doing the work. So that, and it's true for everything. Just like we used to do that with humans, now we can do that with agents. Those agents needs to know at which point they have to loop in human. This is the set of decisions they are capable to take by themselves, and this is the set of decisions they need to loop in human to the loop. Our goal is not to have a full system improving themselves without requiring human at all. Our goal is to be able to move fast with this technology in a way that our interaction will be required only for things that we can do better than AI can.
Thank you so much for that, Danit. Just as Danita said, the goal is not to put this AI tool on auto mode, but rather to have human in the loop that directs and control it basically. Thank you very much, Timothy, and thank you very much, Danit. So we just quickly to this lightning round. Someone speaking? Robert. Can you mute? Okay. So thank you. So yeah. So all right. So before we close, we are doing something a little different, and I call this the lightning round. For Timothy and Danny to have 30 seconds, just 30 seconds to ask to answer this this list of questions I'm about to ask you guys. You don't need to think. So okay, Danny, to go first. What is the biggest AI myths you keep hearing?
AI gonna steal your jobs.
Timothy.
AI is more intelligent than human beings.
Wow. 2, Danny, this is for you. What's the biggest AI adoption mistake you've seen?
You're not starting from what you're good at. You're starting from someone else's good.
Okay. Timothy, what's the biggest AI adoption mistake you've seen?
AI is for the IT team. Said leadership. Later. Leadership is saying it's an IT project. They are forgetting that AI is a leadership project.
Okay. This question for Timothy. One book you would recommend to a CTO right now?
Scaling Impact.
Danny, do you want to answer? Okay.
They're not reading books.
Yeah. So, Danny, what is one piece of advice for every CTO in this room?
Don't afraid to start. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone will have AI slops. Everyone will have their agent messing up. Just start. It's okay.
Timothy, what's one piece of advice for every CTO in this room?
Be curious, experiment, try, test, fail, start all over again. Be a 3-year-old child.
Timothy, this is also for you. What's one AI prediction you think everyone gets wrong?
The prediction here would be people are saying that AI is going to replace jobs. Jobs are going to be lost. I think that's wrong. I think AI will replace the mundane, repetitive work that human beings find boring, so that human beings can focus on the more high-level, high-impact kind of jobs.
Dan, it's in 30 seconds. What is one AI prediction you think everyone gets wrong?
They assume it will take a few years for AI to change things. It will take less.
Thank you. Then finally, for Timothy, what is one AI tool you genuinely rate?
Sorry, Danit. Claude Code.
It's fine. It's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. So as we wrap up, I would love just one final takeaway from each of you. If there is one thing you want every CTO in this room to walk away with tonight, this evening, what would that be? Danny, you want to go first? Just one final
I wanted us to remember that you are in leadership position, not because you know all the answers. You are there because you know which questions to ask. And this is relevant even in a world where you don't really know what's end up next.
Thank you so much. Timothy, any final words?
Oh, final words.
Final takeaway. What is one thing you would want every CTO in this room to walk away with this evening?
So when they say the world is changing, we shouldn't be scared that the world is changing. We have seen that transition happen with cloud. We have seen that transition happen with mobile phones, smartphones. We've seen that transition happen with the internet. Now that AI is here, there's no reason to be scared. We have gone through these phases and we have led our organizations through those phases. It's the same thing. Lead with curiosity, experiment, give your people an opportunity to be able to do more. Like Danit said, ask the right questions, because at the end of the day, as a leader, you're not supposed to know 100%. If you know 100%, then you don't need your team. Your team is there so you can move together to the next level. Yours is to guide them, give them the vision, and then be able to support them to get to where you need the organization to go. Add value, that's how you add value. So let's not be scared. We've been through this phase 5 times. So this is another one.
Thank you so much. Let's not be scared. We've been through this phase a couple of times. Yeah. Danny, Timothy, thank you both. This was exactly the kind of honest practical conversation we hoped for this evening. And to everyone who has joined, asked questions, shaped tonight's agenda, even before we even went live, thank you. This has made this forum what it was. And if this evening conversation has reinforced one thing, is that AI adoption isn't about buying another tool. It's actually also like about leadership. So my challenge to everyone living tonight is simple. Pick one thing you heard tonight and put it into practice before the end of next week. And also, yeah, so this is actually our first time of having this kind of thing. We'll be hosting more CTO Forum, founder discussion, and executive conversation through Data Melon Startup community. And if you like, stay connected and be part of what's next. Thank you also again very much, Timothy and Danit. I would hand over the mic to Sivan now for the closing remark.
Thank you very, very much, Danit and Timothy. We can't find the words to the value and the insights and the tips that you shared over here with us. We think that definitely it takes a lot of courage for founders and CTOs to build a startup, especially these days when we don't know how it's going to look like the world within 6 months, as you said, Danit. And thank you for all the practical tips and frameworks. It is the first CTO Forum in a series that we are leading. To those of you who are less familiar with our DataMelon startup community, we constantly lead these online and offline events globally. So please join us. There is the code over here. Scan it. Join our WhatsApp group. Join our LinkedIn page, where we empower you and spotlight you and open you the world to more opportunities, mentors, investors, programs, and more. Thank you very, very much, Timothy. Thank you very, very much, Danit, our moderator, Charles, and all the participants. We definitely want to continue and support you. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where's the link for the?
It's on the screen over here to scan the code, and you can join our WhatsApp community.